Inspiration came originally many years ago after attending a friend's wedding, and thought about it as I was reflecting about the wedding on the plane ride back. I just thought it would be fun to do a movie that was about this very loving but dysfunctional family and how they have this go-to member in the family where everyone leaned on her. But meanwhile, for once, it was her day at this big wedding, and yet she ends up still at her own wedding, running after every single family member and solving their problems and taking care of their crises. But then, of course, many years later, and many drafts and different evolution processing, and also going away and doing other projects and then coming back. It's, one day it just, the inspiration came and these characters just all morphed into these really, really visceral and irresistible people for me who I felt I was extremely drawn to. And so I just did a massive rewrite, and a year and a half later, I think we went into official pre-production.
I love the fact that the characters blended so well, as you said, and you really got drawn into them. I mean, you were irritated with some of them. You wanted to slap a few of them, like her sister. I was just like, stop that. But the casting process for you, when you did the second draft, did you have anybody in mind? I mean, were you thinking of a particular actor, like to play Vanessa? And what were you thinking when you did that process?
I actually originally wrote the movie with a few specific friends in mind. So, for instance, the mother role, Tina Chang, I had worked with her on my first movie, Face. And so I wrote that character for her with her in mind. And there were a few as well. And so many years, and eventually I was very fortunate to end up with the cast that I ended up with. And I think they all brought so much of themselves into these roles. So it was truly a collaboration.
So did you have other movies that, not that you wanted to copy any other movie, but was there a flavor of other films that you saw that you thought, maybe my film could look like this? Or no, was that not part of the process at all?
If there was, then it was not a conscious decision. I do believe in film that it's a world that we're creating. So it's not just the look, it's the sound, it's what music they're playing in their rooms, and it's the scents that are coming out of their kitchen, or the color palette, or the textures, and their clothes, what their style. So it's a full multi-level world and atmosphere, and with all the dimensions. So the visual aspect is just whatever is the most truthful to portraying this story in this world.
I just felt like homesick. I was like, oh, she makes me want to go back to New York now, which I do go home and visit. So it was really nice to see that and the flavor of it and that energy that you get, because you capture that energy with her running around and doing all the things that she does, which I really love that. When you were choosing your cinematographer, again, was this somebody you worked with in the past or somebody's new work that you worked with? Tell me about that.
Funnily enough, this cinematographer, in the past I've always worked with just the same cinematographers, but for this one they were not available at the time, and we didn't have very much flexibility with the schedule. So with this cinematographer, Sam Chase, who since then I've done 3 music videos with him, I think. He had, I produced this micro-budget feature a year prior to Almost Perfect that we shot up in Woodstock. And my producer, Derek Tang, had given me the DP Sam Chase's reel at that time. And he was not available to shoot that movie, Fighting Fish. But his images and his sensibilities, they were just so haunting that 4 years later, or no, 2, I don't remember, 2 years later, when we were interviewing cinematographers, I met all these wonderful, wonderful DPs, but for some reason I just couldn't stop thinking about his reel and his sensibilities, because everyone, I think, most good cinematographers, they can put together, they have a good eye, they are professional. his just had this sensibility that I just personally really connected to, and they didn't, but I didn't remember his name, and and they didn't know who I was describing. But for some, our producing team was so amazing. They finally found out who I was talking about. Goodness. They brought him in. He happened to be available, and we had this discussion, and he talked about the script and just the way he got the story, and he talked about the characters and and the world, and it just was, it was just magical, and it was instantaneous, and really it felt like we had been working together for years, and there was this shorthand between us, and it continues, and now we're really good friends as well.
This one here, we all want to meet him. He's such a hunk. Like, now you have him being like the leading man. Everybody wants him. So tell me, how did you find him?
Ivan was originally, he's old friends with Kelly Hu. They had worked together in the past. And so when, and they always talked about playing brother and sister at some point down the road. Okay. So when she signed on to do the movie, she said, oh, let me bring in, can you guys see this actor Ivan Shah? He's super talented. He would be great as my brother. And we were talking with Edison to be the lead part. And then Edison ended up reading the script and feeling that he responded more to the brother role.
Great job, he did.
Yeah, and then we said, okay, well, Ivan, why don't you try out as the lead role? And he did such an amazing job. He blew everyone, literally in the auditioning session, you could feel the casting directors, and the producers and everyone, gay, straight, male, female. You could just feel everyone melt.
He had the best smile. I think the smile did it for you. What do you want people to come away with from this film? What is the message that you think you want them to feel?
I don't think I have a specific message that I would want to dictate, but and I think the most rewarding thing about filmmaking is that everyone can respond to it on a different level personally, hopefully, and also the more universal, the better. But if the audiences can walk away feeling like the last 90 minutes they were in there, they felt entertained, they felt touched, they felt even inspired, and they felt that whatever cathartic maybe, and maybe walk away with a little bit of hope, whether it's with their families, if it's with their love relationships, then I'm grateful.
I can't wait to see what's next for you. I'll be excited, and we'll be following your career very closely.
Oh, thanks, Jen.
And I'm looking forward to it. And Almost Perfect. Got to see it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks.